In the entire time that I've played Summoner's War, I have never, ever seen anyone go 30-0 in RTA. You could make an argument that maybe someone in that was a Guardian player dropped down to beginner like 900 points and they just climbed their way up and got every single win, right? But I'm not talking about beginner level. I'm not talking about challenger. I am talking about rank 1. I am talking he did 30 matches, he won 30 times, he lost 0 times. We can actually see from the replays, well, we can't see all of the replays all the way down, but we can see all of the replays we see here. Gain 3 points, 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 over and over and over again. Do you guys see any losses here? Oh, he gained 4 points on that one. 3 points, 3 points. So, do you guys see any losses? There is no losses. It seems impossible. It actually almost is impossible to win 30 times in a row without losing any at rank 1. It is not a thing that happens, but it happened, and he did it. So today we're going to take a look at PINKROID's matches and see what exactly he's doing to win every single RTA match at rank 1. Match 1, first pick, Oki. First pick Oki, so he's going for a more control. He's got the outspeed, strip, defense break, nuke, picks Ken. Picks Ken, picks Vanessa last, okay? So I haven't really seen as much Vanessa this season as I did previously. So the funny thing about that Water Ryu outspeeding the Fire Ken is that Ken is over 300 speed. So that Water Ryu is faster. So that's definitely 100% a swift Water Ryu. He's over 300 speed. That was a very fast win. See, okay, I said so many times before the Water Ryu was introduced into RTA, before he was available in RTA, people were like, oh, he's not as good as you think he is. He's not as good as you think he is. I'm like, he is going to be RTA meta. He's going to be counter cleave RTA meta. I mean, he's not even just counter cleave at this point. He's just RTA meta. He's just, Water Ryu is fantastic. He's triple S tier. Match 2, same guy though. He's fighting the same guy that he just fought against. So they're going to try to go for the outspeed, right? They pick 2 speed leads. They pick the Barbara, and then they pick the Dark Horus. So they knew though that the Water Ryu was still he's gonna be the fastest unit. They still didn't ban him though. And they still left the Tianlang in there. I feel like they just gave him the win at this point. I don't know. I feel like they just gave him the win at this point by letting all of that stuff, like, at least ban one of the... Okay. I don't know why he banned the Rika, honestly. I think that was just the wrong ban. So he would have had a much better shot the other way around. Matched up a third time with the same exact person. Tries to pick different stuff, tries to go for, okay, I'm going to do Leo now. By the way, he's picking 2 LDs. So Mamba's like, I'm going to try a third team. The first 2 didn't work. Let me try a third team. His queue time was insane. His queue time, he was waiting 15 minutes for matches. Because he was winning so much at rank 1 that they weren't, like, he couldn't queue against anyone. The system was just like, I don't know who to put you up against. You're supposed to be fighting someone that's above rank 1. Because you keep winning, so yeah, it was taking forever for him to actually queue. So that's one of the things here. So he's actually Mamba's actually doing much better with this team of a lot of passives, right? So I mean, we know that PINKROID wins. Spoiler alert: he went 30-0. We know that he wins. However, this team is doing better against him. It at least has a shot right now. Nuke City doesn't kill the Vertiheel, but. Still, it was doing better. It was doing better. So, that's one way to do it. And as far as the LD situation, these are actually the only 2 LD5s that he had. He may have more somewhere, but these are the only ones that he had set up in his box for RTA is Tianlang and Zerath. I think we're on match 4 now. So he gets Oki first, Savannah. UT10, fantastic player also, picks the Water Ryu out from under him. So PINKROID changes his strategy up. He picks the Water Fairy. He picks the Anivel. Bans the Dark Grim Reaper. Doesn't ban the Rika, bans the Dark Grim Reaper. So now he gets outsped and controlled. Let's see how he comes back from getting outsped and controlled. He still didn't CC the Water Fairy, which is actually going to be important. So let's see. Doesn't even go for the detonate. Let's see what happens to the Water Fairy. She's going to sleep the Rika. And then Juno just comes in, does some CCs. That is going to die from the dots before Elucia gets another turn. So he's definitely down. Gets an additional turn. That's usually how the turnaround happens, is they're definitely down and then they get additional turns. So this one's looking really rough for PINKROID, actually, right? Because UT10 picks the Water Ryu, which is a nice start. So, and then contest speed with that Ashir. So, down to 3 versus 3. And it's actually in favor of UT10. So, the comeback from this, Water Ryu is dead. And then the bomb, and then now it's just based on now it's Juno. So Juno's gonna have to solo this, which she's not gonna do. I mean, she could, but if Juno countered and despair procced against the Water Fairy, that's how this game could be won, right? We know it doesn't happen, but it could have happened. So. It was a rough one, though. That was all. He almost lost that one. So this one, first pick Gianna, then Tianlang. So he knows that Tianlang is being used against him, one of his LDs, one of the few LDs that he has. He goes with Rika, Oki, and Gani against the crazy LD team. You see the Fire Ryu actually being used here. Fire Ryu is nice against things that do AoEs. So Fire Ryu is actually pretty decent against the Xiongpung. If we take a look, he does these revenges. So that's where he's been used. And then just infinite dots, infinite CC. With the Gani Oki combo, it's brutal. So eventually, I mean, Molly can only do so much here, right? Molly's the sustain. She can only do so much. She can't cleanse everything. So this is basically just GG. The more Rika gets her skill 3, the more crazy things are going to happen. There's not, yeah. And then to add insult to injury, misses the bomb too. Match 6, he goes for Water Ryu first. Water Ryu is a fantastic unit now. Goes Water Ryu, Gani Hathor. He completely switched it up. I'm not sure why he switched it up. Tianlang, so he's got 2 strippers. He's got anti-attack gauge increase, which is something that Rakuni does, Juno does, Ciara does. So he's got, that is Swift. That is a Swift Water Ryu. Again, we saw that was outspeeding. So now he's just got a Gani Hathor lockdown with the Water Chimera. Another crazy thing to see, right? He banned the Leo. Leo would have been a counter to the Water Chimera. Weird to see that. And then he's got the Gani Hathor lockdown. Such a gross team, man. But it's interesting to see that he's using Gani Hathor now. He opted for waking everyone up. There, because I mean Rakuni to decrease attack gauges, because Rakuni was going to get a turn anyway at some point, even if he slept and start cleansing things, right? So it's interesting to see him using Gani Hathor, which less people have been using nowadays, just based on other things being more meta, Xiongpung, Savannah, Okeanos, being more meta. But you see, he's not afraid to like change his team completely. He's like, okay, I'm using this team, using this team, using this team. Now I'm changing it to Gani Hathor and a Water Chimera. He's not afraid to change things up, and that's one of the reasons. Because here's the thing, a lot of people have a misconception about at low ranks. If they're like just getting into RTA, they're like, I'm Fighter 2. What 5 units can I always pick every single match and win all the time? Like, that's not a thing. You don't just pick the same 5, unless they're super OP broken LD 5s with amazing runes that you're gonna win a tremendous amount regardless. But the point is that you want to be flexible in understanding the situation. You want to evaluate the situation and be prepared in advance with a lot of different options. Maybe not a lot of, but several different options for whatever situation, whatever team that the opponent is going to use against you. Are they doing like a LD bruiser team? Well, then you have to have these options at your disposal in advance so that you can pick them against that team. Are they going for a heavy CC team? Well, then you have to have these other options in advance, like, for example, Rakuni and Juno and things like that, Molly, etc., to counter that. Are they using a cleave team? Well, then you have to have options at your disposal to counter that. You don't just pick the same 5 units every single match, unless you have extremely broken units. Which, if you have extremely broken units, most people should have already figured out that they can just use those 5 units in every match, but you still even don't win every single battle that way. This is extreme anomaly is winning 30-0. It doesn't happen. It happened to happen today, but this is not a thing that happens all the time every day. This is probably never going to happen again at this high of a level. Match number 7, going straight for... Look at this. Hathor again. Well, Nilo picked the Okeanos, so that's one of the reasons that he's using Hathor. So bans the Water Ryu. Probably not a bad idea. Okay, so outspeeds. Fast link into a counter into... That's generally a good start if you can counter, increase your attack age, steal a turn, and start CCing from there. Right? But then Josephine gets her turn. They concede at that point. I don't know if were we seeing the whole match that they just conceded there, or... I guess so. Match 8, Water Ryu first into Ciara Okeanos. He really loves that Okeanos. He loves Okeanos. He loves Water Ryu. I like what Cavallo's doing, just all passives. All passives into a heavy control theme. That's generally what you want to use into heavy control teams, is things that have passives. Passives that prevent CC, passives that, again, vertical counter, limit your speed, which limits the amount of turn cycling that the enemies can do against you. So Cavallo's actually not in a bad spot right now. One of the issues there is that Juno does some cleanse heal stuff, but there's not a whole lot of healing now on their team. So there's not a whole lot of sustain. So he's still getting controlled. But the Molly there would have been pretty brutal in terms of, like, letting them get extra turns. I mean, not letting them get extra turns. Letting them heal more, have more sustain for longer matches. Still doing well, though. Look at it. It's still 3-on-3. It's not like this is a, you know, absolute clean sweep or anything. Doing quite a bit of damage. I'm curious how much additional damage he has on the Tianlang artifacts, actually. Doing decent damage. I'm curious, because we know that the Water Ryu is super fast. But I'm curious what the runes on, like, the Okeanos specifically. Match 9, first pick, Water Ryu into Ciara Juno. So he's got strips. He's got also a Leica. See, he's not afraid to change things up completely. So, because he's got the burst damage. And he's got the Hathor there because the Japanese player chose the Okeanos. So he's got AoE strip and then CC. He's got the bomb on, so this is basically already game, because they have so much control. There's really no way that they can deal with all this control at this point. He's just trying to punch damage into tanky enough to survive, puts the bombs up. There's no way. It's already over. I really don't see any way that this is not already over. This is already game. He's just... It's really already... I mean, how could they possibly come back from this? There's just so much CC, and he's just going to drop bombs on everything just in case, like, if it does violent proc, then it dies to a bomb. Like, this was just, this was over pretty fast, actually. Match number 10 against Obabo. So, interestingly enough, first picks Kaki. I don't know why. I don't know that I would have first picked Kaki in that situation. And also, Malaka. Guys, I don't even know. I don't even know what I'm watching now. By the way, we're not going to be able to see... I mean, really, what am I actually watching? Kaki did some decent damage, but... so nukes the... So that's already game. That's already game. All those bombs are already game. This is such a wacky... such a wacky team I was not expecting. On both sides. But you see, he's not afraid to completely change his lineup. Like, only 2 units were the same. He had the Savannah and he had the Water Ryu that were things that he was picking all the time. And then he changed it to Light Dragon, which is not super meta in RTA. Like, you see it every once in a while, but it's not like crazy meta RTA unit, the Water Dragon. There's a lot of other things that you see much more, like Ragdoll and Gianna and things like that. You never see Malaka. You see it today, but he's not afraid to change his teams when the situation calls for it. No, I don't know what that first pick Kaki was. Match 11 against Obabo again. So this is kind of the thing why he's getting matched up with the same people over and over again, is because it's hard for, like, at that high level, if there's not too many people queuing up, he's having like 15-minute queue times, right? So let's see. He picks first few picks are fairly standard as to what he's been picking before. He picked the Ciara, he picked the Water Ryu first into Oki Ciara, and then he picked the Fran and the Ethna. And then, interestingly enough, the Bella cuts in. So Bella was speed tuned on Obabo's side. Bella was speed tuned to go very fast. Obabo also has a Han, a Dark Ninja. So I'm curious if he's using that very, very, very fast to do like some single target snipe stuff. Because she does have some strips. She does have some attack gauge reductions. Bella's kind of an interesting unit. I think she's not super top tier. I'm not going to say she's super top tier, but she is a little bit underrated as far as a unit. So, again, not super top tier RTA though. So, Ethna on Despair. Usually you see Ethna's on Violent nowadays. I do like Ethna on Despair though, but a little bit more common to see Violent Ethnas this season than anything else. So we're just going for, I mean, it's kind of a standard match, like back and forth. Not anything too crazy aggressive. It's, you know, turn cycling. There's some sustain. There's some strips. There's some damage, but nothing too crazy. So yeah, I mean, fairly standard match. Match number 12, another one against Obabo. So PINKROID's already going for CC lockdown. He's going for Gani Oki lockdown. He's going for bombs and Rika. Obabo's like, you know what, I don't know if he's got 1 or 2 verti-heals. Obabo's like, I want to try to snipe first turn, right? So that's a swift verti-heal. He's got the 33 speed lead, and then he's got the verti-heals going, and we know, because we know that's a swift Water Ryu. So that's got to be a swift verti-heal. The nice thing about the Water Ryu on Swift as a stripper versus the Chiwu, they both have the speed leads, right? You usually see Water Ryu on Despair as like a counter interruption thing. If you're going to use Water Ryu as a counter interruption thing, then Despair is a great option, or Despair would be the option. But if you're going to use Water Ryu for turn 1, Swift, kind of like how you use the Chiwu, it's going to be a little less reliable than Chiwu is. However, the nice thing about the Water Ryu is if you do have a verti-heal revenge proc, it's a water unit, you may not be that screwed. Match number 13, Japanese player picks that's the same thing as the Water Ryu, by the way. The Water Striker is the same thing as Water Ryu. Some people always ask that. Also, interesting thing to mention is that the Light Ryu, they're basically Ryu and Striker, same thing. Light Ryu actually has a strip, as you see, with the skill 2. So, that outspeeds. And PINKROID is using, he stuck a few passives in there at the very end to try to come back, right? To try to, and this could have gone the opposite direction, right? This could have gone very badly for PINKROID, but he did steal some turns before this Youngpung actually got a turn. He steals some turns with Diana and Savannah, and then he and another stealing another turn, actually able to control this Youngpung before things get too crazy out of hand. So, I wonder if that is a triple revenge verti-heal or just a single. I feel like that's going to be a triple revenge verti-heal. Some people, the higher up you go, the more people are likely to do multiple of things like verti-heal, right? So, or multiple of a few different units, more so verti-heal than other things, though. And then Diana just does Diana things, and it's basically over from there. Match number 14, we're getting kind of near the end. So, another European player, Toxic Combo, doesn't have a ton of strips, has a little bit of strips with the Okeano skill 2 and the Savannah skill 2, goes for double speed leads, and we know that that's Swift, and then goes for the Seal Magic, but he didn't really strip too much. See, the thing with the Water Ryu, is he doesn't really strip as much as Chiwu strips. So, that's one of the downsides. If you're looking for Water Ryu to replace a Chiwu, his strip is not as reliable. That's why he's usually used as a counter with Despair, but in this case, he's being used with Swift, right? But the thing with that is he's not always going to land it. So actually, PINKROID is in a pretty bad spot right now. He's in a pretty bad spot. He's got this the AoE attack gauge reduction, does enough damage. He almost killed things. Does he get it onto? I was going to say, does he get it onto Gian? I guess it didn't matter because Juno was going to move right after that though. Goes for the power surge, and at this point right now, I mean, the Water Reuse passive, it's weak against multi-hitters, but single hitters, single hitters can't just take him down because his passive is going to activate. He's going to just not die. He's going to not take any damage from that, so he needs to be hit multiple times. And his passive actually does not have that long of a cooldown, especially if you consider his speed lead and his attack gauge absorb with the skill 2, helping him cycle turns a little bit more than average. Last one, match number 15. And again, as I mentioned before, we can only see 15. We can't see all 30 because there's only 15 ever in any queue of anyone's past RTA battles, just overall, right? I think most people know that. Gani Hathor gets the Gani Hathor. Now, we know that Ken is 300 speed. We know that Ken is 300 speed. Actually, I know. I saw Ken's runes are over 300 speed, and he's got 100% crit rate, right? Ken needs 100% crit rate. So, and then we get Gani Hathor, and then that's GG. Gani Hathor turns cycling, and that's game. He's just gonna nuke that monkey down. Then he's gonna nuke the Juno down. I was gonna say Josephine. I'm like, that's not Josephine. And then one after another, Gani Hathor. And he's not afraid to use Gani Hathor. It's not as meta this season because people are opting for different things. But he's not afraid to just be like, yeah, Gani Hathor was very OP. I can still use that. I can still win. But he's using the Hathor when people take the Okeanos. So just to keep in mind. But here's the thing. He's using a Fire Ken, which everyone got for free. And then he's using the Water Werewolf, which is very easy. Is a secret dungeon unit, right? So 2 of those units in that team. And he's using other stuff. It's not like he's using like full LD5 teams, crazy nonsense. It's like, yeah, he's using Nat 5s, but he's also using some off. Like, we use Water Chimera. If the situation calls for it, he uses Water Chimera. He'll win with Water Chimera. He'll win whatever he feels is the best unit for that situation. But anyway, guys, that's it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I've never seen anyone go 30-0 at anywhere in the top 100. I've never seen anyone go 30-0. It's absolutely insane. And I think I mean, if you can go 30-0, something that no one ever has done before, and stay rank 1, I mean, I'm hesitant to be like, this is the best RTA player of all time. He's definitely up there in one of the best RTA players of all time. I mean, he's been number 1 quite a lot recently. I know he wasn't like in previous seasons, like 10 seasons ago or whatever, but he's been dominating for months now. And not just he's doing great today. He's been dominating for quite a while at this point. That I feel like we can safely say this is one of the best RTA players at this point. And I'm excited to see what kind of crazy combinations he comes up with in the future. So anyway, because I feel like he's not afraid to just do whatever he feels is the best for the situation. So anyway, that's it for this one. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And I'll see you as always in the next one.